Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of my podcast, Soul Talk and Psychic Advice. In my last episode, I talked about something I see all the time, waiting for a romantic relationship to come into a person's life so that they could finally feel like their life is exciting, meaningful, or complete. Today, I want to talk about a variation of that, waiting for a psychic prediction to change your life. Something I see a lot in my work, and it's frustrating because I make it very clear that I'm a life strategist. If you do X, Y will happen. If you don't do this, that will happen, but it still happens. People want to put their happiness somewhere else. So they're waiting also for a relationship, waiting for money, waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the move, waiting for the business to take off, waiting for someone to finally recognize you, waiting for the prediction to happen so that then you can feel excited about your life. And that part I hate because I know that's part of the work and I've loved doing the work. There's a lot of great people I talk to. It's been fun, but there are people who make the psychic responsible for everything, and we are not. We are not. We do not force people to call you. We're not putting a gun to anybody's head to call. And I'm doing this conversation today, this podcast, because I want people to realize how much power they have in their life. And I know when our life sucks, we don't feel like we have any power. We feel powerless. Nothing I do works, I've tried this and I tried that. But you know how they say you gotta try 99 times and on the 100th time, usually is when it works. When you see successful people, they were rejected a lot. Remember Harry Potter? She was rejected many times before that book got picked up. There's story after story of people being rejected or people being late bloomers and not having success till their 50s. And I know that could be upsetting to hear from some people because we do look for that magic moment to come and then it's like life has meaning. A lot of people tell me, well, my life doesn't have meaning. I said, you need to go ask the people who love you, and ask, does your life have meaning if you don't see it? Because your life has meaning. And we all are doing different things in different ways. And so, people also wait for someone to recognize them and waiting for the prediction to happen so that then you can feel excited about your life is not a good thing. Life has more boring periods, more slow periods, and exciting periods. When you see somebody busy on social media, that's one day. That isn't there every day. Nobody could keep that up every day anyway. And after many years of doing psychic work, I think we need to have a much more mature conversation about what psychic guidance is actually supposed to do. I believe psychics can be incredibly valuable. That's the only way I could have done this work for 24 years. But I don't believe the purpose of a psychic reading is to hand your life over to someone else. I think of psychics as life strategists. We can help you see possibilities. We can help you recognize patterns. We can see opportunities you aren't seeing. And sometimes I tell people this is an opportunity, and they're like, yeah, well, where is it? And it's like, well, you got to do something. You got to take X, Y, and Z action. A lot of times people don't want to take action. They just want things handed to them because they're a good person. It's not enough to be a good person. I love this example that I always give. If you wanted a college degree, and I say, yeah, you get the degree. What do you have to do? You have to apply to college. You have to get accepted. You have to have a major. You have to take the course requirements. You have to do the graduation requirements. You gotta pass everything, right? And then you get the degree. That is life. Life requires action. Do not call a psychic if you're not going to take action. Okay? We can help you understand what might be developing. We can help you look at your life from another perspective, but there is something we cannot do. We cannot live your life for you. When people want me to, when somebody gets mad, I notice this when I read negative feedback on other pages. I get one here and there. They're expecting the psychic to fix their life and give them hope. And I've told some of those people, I said, what did I tell you to do? Did you do any of it? No, but, and I said, don't call a psychic unless you're ready to take action. Just like you don't go to a coach unless you're ready to take action. No, and no prediction, no matter how exciting it sounds, can create change in a life that you are unwilling to participate in changing. And I don't think people are lazy. I think people are discouraged. I know what it's like to be discouraged. I've done a lot of business evolution and tried many things, and some things don't work, and you're just like, well, why bother trying? I didn't launch for a while because all my launches sucked before and they flopped, and it was true. And it's like, well, I'm good at one-on-one. I have a huge one-on-one business both on the platform and off platform, so I just do that. But so we get in the way of other things we want to do because we have flops, right? So psychic guidance is supposed to create movement. Yes. There's a difference between using psychic guidance as information and using psychic guidance as a reason to wait. Those are two completely different things. Let's say someone tells you, I see a new relationship coming. That could be exciting, but what happens next? Do you continue building a life that you enjoy? Hopefully. Do you meet people? Hopefully. Do you work on your relationship patterns? Do you become clearer about what kind of relationship you actually want? Do you practice boundaries? Do you learn how to recognize emotionally healthy people? Or do you sit back and think, well, the psychic said something is coming. Don't do that. That is where psychic guidance can accidentally become another form of avoidance. And I don't think that is what psychic work should be. Don't sit and wait. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody. And I don't read death. I don't. I think that's between the person and their creator. A good reading should bring you more deeply into your life, not remove you from it. It should help you make decisions. It should make you become aware. It should help you see possibilities. It should help you recognize where you have choices. It should create movement, because there is a tremendous difference between something wonderful is possible for me and something wonderful is going to happen to me and I don't have to change anything. The prediction can become the fantasy, and it does for some people. And I tell people, even if I say this person's going to come back into your life, don't wait. Live your life. Date others. Shop. We're so scared of, well, what if I like the new person more than the person I've been waiting on? Then you do. Then you just do, and that's fine. Always go in the direction of movement. Always go in the direction of movement. So, sometimes a prediction itself becomes a fantasy, and I can understand it. If you're unhappy with your current circumstances and someone tells you that something exciting is coming, that prediction can give you hope. You're going to meet someone, your business is going to grow, you're going to receive an opportunity, you're going to move. People want to hear this stuff. Something big is coming. For a moment, you feel different, you feel hopeful, you feel excited. You can imagine another version of your life. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. Hope can be powerful, but hope needs to eventually become participation. Otherwise, you can become emotionally attached to the future while remaining disconnected from the present. And then you aren't actually creating a different life. You're mentally visiting one. That's an important distinction. You can spend months imagining the future someone predicted while continuing to make exactly the same choices that created the life you currently have. Things aren't thrown at us. Even think about it. A lot of people who became famous, they went to a lot of auditions. They were rejected so many times. So, you may become frustrated if you sit and wait. Why hasn't it happened? But the more useful question might be, what have I changed since I received the information? A lot of times, nothing. Psychics can see possibility, not remove your agency. I don't want to take over somebody's life. I believe in self-empowerment. This is one of the most important things I want people to understand about psychic readings. When I see something for someone, I see information and possibility. I may see a direction, I may see a pattern, I may see something that appears highly likely. But you still have agency. And yes, I have, a high rate of predictions coming through. So when something doesn't happen for someone, they get really angry. They're like, well, everybody else got theirs, because they could see my feedback. Well, where's mine? And I asked them, what changes did you make? Those people made changes. They used their voice. They spoke up. They took a risk. Circumstances can change. Your choices matter. The choices of the people around you matter. That is why I don't believe healthy psychic work should make someone feel powerless. It should be the opposite. It should make you ask, what can I do with this information? If someone tells you to see that they see a business opportunity coming, perhaps your next question should be when. It shouldn't only be when, but it should be when, but maybe it should also be, what do I need to become to recognize the opportunity and be ready for it? Yes, because a lot of times things come to us that we're not ready for. That's why a lot of lottery winners are broke, because they're not ready. They do not have the capacity for that amount of money. And people go to be different from me. Not if you don't deal your money shit now, because all of us have money shit to deal with. All of us have things to work through with money and boundaries around money and being responsible with money. If someone sees love coming, ask, am I emotionally available for this kind of relationship I say I want? If someone sees career growth, ask, am I willing to become visible? Apply for something, have a difficult conversation, learn something new, or take a risk. This is why I call psychic work strategy. The intuitive information is one part. What you do with the information is another. Yes, sometimes we keep asking because we don't want to act. Yes, here's another pattern I have seen. Sometimes people aren't actually looking for information. They're not looking for more information. They already have enough information. They're looking for a different answer. They're either looking for a different answer, or reassurance, or certainty, or those are not, and those aren't the same thing. You can ask, is this relationship going to work? Then ask another psychic, then another, then ask again 2 weeks later. But at some point, there may be a different question underneath all of those questions. What am I afraid I will have to do if I accept what I already know? That is a much deeper question. Maybe you already know the relationship isn't giving what you need, and so you keep on calling a psychic till one says yes. And sometimes people leave bad feedback to all the ones that said no. But this is what I tell you something. People are smart. I don't believe that anyone's stupid. I don't care. People may play stupid. We may do stupid things when we're vulnerable or having trauma. But nobody is stupid. And we all know the direction of our life and the value of the people in our life. Sometimes we want confirmation through a reading, but we already know. You know, you already know. Maybe you already know you want to leave your job. Maybe you already know you need stronger boundaries. Maybe you already know you want to start the business. Maybe you already know you need to stop rescuing someone. Maybe you already know what your intuition has been telling you. Another reading may temporarily soothe the uncertainty, but eventually you have to make a choice. There are moments when you don't need another message. You need movement. Movement. Information is not transformation. It's not. Quotes are not transformation. Affirmations aren't transformation. Action, being willing to change and do something different, to get out of your comfort zone, to take action, is the transformation. This is something that extends far beyond psychic readings. We live in a world where we can consume an enormous amount of information: podcasts, books, courses, readings, YouTube videos, coaches, therapists, spiritual teachers, and social media. And all of this can be some help. You know, I got some good information on social media today. We can become incredibly knowledgeable about ourselves without actually changing very much. You can know everything about boundaries and still say no. You can understand people pleasing and still abandon yourself to keep someone happy. You can understand your attachment patterns and still chase emotionally unavailable people. You can know that you need to become visible and still hide. You can know that you're overgiving and continuing saying yes when your body is screaming no. Knowing is important, but knowing and embodying are different things. The same applies to psychic information. But people hold us psychics to higher standards sometimes, even higher than a doctor. I notice that. It's like we forgive a medical professional when they mess up or they don't get something right. And we just go to another one. But one psychic gets a prediction wrong, they're all bad. They're all quacks. They're all charlatans. And I think it's because people want a psychic to change their life. That isn't what we do. You can receive a beautiful reading about what is possible for you. But possibility requires participation. And sometimes participation is uncomfortable. It means having the conversation, sending the application, ending something, beginning something, trying something, being seen, risking rejection, setting the boundary, going somewhere new, making a decision without knowing exactly how everything is going to turn out. That is where change actually happens. Too many people only want to do something if they have a guarantee. Life is not about guarantees. You have just got to live. You have got to risk making a fool of yourself, being embarrassed, being disappointed. You have got to risk it. And if it's too much for you to handle those things, you will stay stuck and work through why you don't want to be embarrassed. I have people say to me sometimes during a reading that they don't want to be the fool. How are you a fool if you're trying? How are you a fool? I don't know if I did a podcast on that. I'm going to have to look. If I didn't, I will. We got to stop this wanting guarantees in life. Life is fluid. There are no guarantees. Everything's a risk. Everything. People want only the relationship that's going to work out. But the minute that there's bumps, it's, oh, I thought this was going to work out. Yes, but we still have bumps in relationships. Two people coming together and loving each other is not enough. It will never be enough. You gotta do the inner work. Stop asking only when. One of the most common questions in psychic work is when. When will I meet someone? When will money come? When will the opportunity happen? When will my business grow? When will things finally change? And I understand why people want timing, but I think there are more empowering questions. Instead of asking, when will love come, ask, what patterns might be keeping me unavailable for healthy love? You have to ask those questions if you want love and it's not showing up, because it only shows up when we're ready. Instead of when will my business become successful, ask, what am I not doing that would help me create the business I want? That's important. Instead of when will I finally move, ask, what steps could I begin taking now? Instead of when is my life going to get exciting? We have to stop chasing excitement. The best things in life is when you could be bored and be happy. Sometimes life is boring and that's a good thing. Ask, what am I waiting for permission to do? Instead of when will my life get exciting? That question can change a lot. What are you waiting for permission to do? Travel, create something, change careers, start dating, stop dating, make new friends, become visible. Take your work seriously, say no, say yes, have an adventure. You don't necessarily need a prediction before you begin participating in your own life. Your life cannot stay the same if you want something different. Your life cannot stay the same if you want something different. You have to move out of your comfort zone or nothing's going to change. Every successful person got out of their comfort zone. They got comfortable on camera. They went and asked for something and probably got told no. Stop calling no rejection. It could be redirection. You have to take risk. There is another uncomfortable truth about change. We often want a different outcome without wanting the disruption that comes with creating it. We often want a different outcome without wanting the disruption that comes with creating it. There will be disruption. We want the relationship, but we don't want to change our relationship patterns. We want more money, but we don't want to change how we work, market, receive, charge, or make decisions. We want new opportunities, but we don't want to become visible. We want peace, but we don't want to disappoint anyone. And I tell you, I was one of those people who wanted opportunities, but I didn't want to be visible because I'm an introvert. I just want to be in my little hobbit hole living my life. And I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be recognized on the street. I just don't, and I was scared of any visibility that would cause that problem. I'm not famous, so I don't have to worry about it. I can have my little podcast and do some videos on social media with other types of posts, and nobody cares. I come from a family of 6 kids. I was the youngest. I got plenty of attention growing up. I don't want any. I just want to be left alone. That's me. But I was hurting myself by not doing videos, by not posting, by not doing a podcast. We want peace, but we don't want to disappoint anyone. Sometimes you gotta disappoint people. We want freedom, but we don't want to let go of what is familiar. So we wait. And sometimes spiritual or psychic language can become awful, right? It can make waiting feel productive. It's coming. The universe is preparing me. The timing isn't right. Sometimes those things may resonate. But sometimes we also need to ask, am I waiting for divine timing or am I avoiding an uncomfortable decision? That requires discernment because sometimes waiting is wise. Timing is everything. And sometimes waiting has become a hiding place. Yes. Use psychic readings differently. I try to get people to do this. So here's what I would encourage you to do the next time you have a psychic reading. Don't just ask what's going to happen to me. Ask questions that make you an active participant. Ask, what possibility am I not seeing? What might I be getting, where might I be getting in my own way? I could barely talk this morning, excuse me, because this is such a big topic. What pattern should I pay attention to? What opportunity may be available to me? What choices do I have? What would support the outcome I want? What am I being invited to change? Again, where might I be getting in my own way? Sometimes I can't read my own writing. Where might I be getting in my own way? A lot of people don't want to ever admit that they're getting in their own way. They're like, I would never stop myself from what I want. If you have unhealed trauma, insecurities, fears, doubts, any of that, if you're just waiting, you're getting in your own way. And I always wanted readings to show people what's possible with their action, their power. So you take all these questions and then you take that information back into your own life. Think about it, feel into it, use your discernment, decide what resonates and what matters most importantly. Do something with it. A psychic should not become the authority over your life. I don't want authority over no one's life. My job is to work on my own. A psychic should help you see your life clearly. There is a tremendous difference between the two. A psychic should not become the authority over your life. A psychic should help you see your life more clearly. But I can tell you, after doing this work for 24 years and even telling people over and over, this is how you use readings, this is what you do. There's always someone who doesn't get it. And they want to start saying, but you said, and I said, but I also said X, Y, and Z with it. And a lot of times people hear the prediction, but they don't hear what comes with it. That's why I tell people I don't do yes or no readings. Because I could say someone loves you, yes, but do they want to be with you? Doesn't mean that. But if I say that first, I learned this early, a person would hang up. And they're like, well, I know the person loves me. So I'm going to hang up. That means everything's going to work out. No, it doesn't mean they want to be with you. It doesn't mean they won't cheat on you. It doesn't mean X, Y, and Z. We need to read further into it. And there are people who want to do 1 and 2 minute readings. You cannot get a reading in 1 or 2 minutes. You need to invest at least 10 minutes. 15 is better. 30 is ideal. Quick readings will not soothe you. It will make you think we're all wrong. Closing. We're going to close this out. So in closing, don't turn a prediction into a waiting room. I want to leave you with this today. Don't turn a prediction into a waiting room. Don't spend the next 6 months waiting for the person. Date others, enjoy, have fun. Or waiting for the opportunity, waiting for money, waiting for someone to discover you, waiting for life to become more exciting. You can ask, should I put myself somewhere? Ask action steps. Okay? Ask verbs. Okay? Build something new. Try something new. Change something now. Have experiences now. Become curious about yourself now. Your future isn't just something you're waiting to arrive at. You're participating in its creation every day. Psychic guidance can show you what might be possible. It can illuminate the road. It can help you see what you couldn't see before. But eventually you have to walk. And if you broke something, you have to fix it. You have to be the one open communication. And sometimes the most powerful message you can receive isn't something exciting is coming. It's you are allowed to create something exciting. You don't have to wait for someone else to enter your life and change it. You don't have to wait for a psychic prediction to come true before you start living. The reading can give you information. The reading can give you possibility. The reading can help you see the road. But your life changes when you are willing to move. Your life changes when you are willing to move, when you are willing to take a risk, when you are willing to be embarrassed, made a fool of. Because every time there's a no, you're just getting pointed into the right direction. Those no's are redirection. Rejection, being made a fool of, which is illusion. Nobody's a fool. It's just redirecting you into the right direction. That's how we get into the right direction. Stop looking for I do it one time and it's a yes and everything works out for me. That isn't how life works for anybody, and I know everybody wants to be the exception. But no one is the exception, and life will have twists and turns before it works out. I tell people it's going to get bumpy. If you're not willing to do bumpy, then forget about it. It's going to get messy. It's going to get twisted. Life is not a straight line. It is a squiggly, roller coaster, loopy, twisty, turny road. Okay? And if you're going to get readings, you need to understand this. Just wanting things to work out isn't how it works. It is action, it is work, it is admitting things that you need to admit to, it's making changes, it's communicating clearly, not just wanting the other person to communicate and then you will once you feel safe. It is being risky. That's how you get the life you want. It is it being messy and knowing that 99 things won't work, but one will. That's what it is. And that's how you do life. I've been reading for 24 years, 22 on the platform. Plus, I do private readings, I do coaching, I've done it all. And I know what I see over and over. And all I ever want is for somebody to do is take control of their life and stop wanting things to just work easily, because it won't. You'll be disappointed. And we can't control anybody else and how they're going to act. We only can control our behavior. And once you know that, you have better relationships with people and you know who to be around. Instead of just praying for someone to change, you're going to have to change. And that may mean making some hard decisions that you don't want to make. It means, being in pain for a moment. But at the end of the day, it gets good. If you could hang on, if you could do the work, if you could take the risk, there can be a lot of good moments in life. So I want to thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode.